Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to be a dolphin or a rose? Well, what if I told you already know what it feels like to be a bacteria? It turns out there are more bacteria on and in your body than human cells. And one of the main reasons you're more bacteria than human is because of your gut microbiota.
So, what is your gut microbiota? The gut microbiota includes all of the microorganisms in your gastrointestinal or GI tract. But in the case of the gut microbiota, the organisms must be small enough or micro enough for millions upon millions to fit inside your GI tract. Most of the microorganisms that colonize or live in your gut are bacteria.
A lot of times they think about bacteria as being harmful creatures that can make you really sick. The truth is that while some bacteria are bad, some are also good. So keep washing your hands to remove the harmful bacteria. But remember that the microorganisms in your GI tract are usually helping you out. We'll get to that later. First, I should explain how these bacteria got into your GI tract in the first place.
Once you are born, bacteria can be introduced to your microbiota for the rest of your life. However, the microbiota is relatively stable after you turn 3, so if new bacteria are introduced after that, it often will not change the makeup of your microbiota very much. Your environment determines the diversity and concentration of the bacteria in your microbiota. The environmental factors which have the greatest influence occur when you're an infant and include your birth mode, your diet, your home environment, and whether you were hospitalized. In terms of ideal microbiota colonization, natural birth is beneficial, cesarean birth harmful, breastfeeding more beneficial than not, presence of pets and siblings more beneficial than none, farm exposure more beneficial than not, and hospitalization more harmful than none. When an infant's environmental exposure before they turn 3 is abnormal or harmful, it alters the microbiota, resulting in dysbiosis, which can last for the remainder of their life. Now, back to what I was saying earlier about how the microorganisms in your GI tract usually help you out. That's because your gut microbiota's colonization before you turn 3 impacts the development of your immune system. Scientists have found that the vast majority of immune-mediated diseases controlled by the immune system, can either be predisposed by or protected against by the gut microbiota, like food allergies, eczema, asthma, inflammatory bowel disease, and type 1 diabetes. You can be predisposed or have an increased risk of developing one of the diseases if you have dysbiosis. However, you can be protected or have a decreased risk of developing one of the diseases if you have a healthy microbiota.
And although research on the gut microbiota is still emerging, it's exciting to learn that even though you have a food allergy, it doesn't necessarily mean that your kids will have one too. Genetics only play a minor role in immune-mediated diseases compared to the gut microbiota, so being aware of the environmental factors that can influence the gut microbiota is important if you know or have a child under the age of 3. But remember, it is a combination of all of an infant's environmental exposure that determines their gut microbiota colonization. So don't think that you have to go move to a farm right away. But remember, it is one more reason to finally adopt the dog you've been dreaming about. Because maybe dogs are only man's best friend, but also bacteria's.